Hello and welcome to True Guidance Tarot. I'm Adriana Teodoro-Dier. I'm a spiritual medium and intuitive reader. I have a message for Virgo today. And to let you know how this works, I have asked my guides in spirit for a message sent through the cards that will be positive as well as beneficial for you this week as you navigate what's going on in your journey. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. So glad you're here, and I strongly invite you to subscribe so that you can benefit from the high vibration information every week sent through these readings. And if you're returning, know that I really appreciate you. I'm so happy that you're here, and I really want to get started with this reading because my guys have been giving me an interesting explanation. I'm not sure what the story is yet, so we'll see what comes up as we go. But the theme for you is appropriate use of energy. Make sure that you are harnessing and channeling your energy appropriately this week in a way that really suits you. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'll show you these two cards at once because they're very similar. We've got the Nine of Wands on this side. We've got the Two of Wands on this side. So this is the energy that the universe sends to you, and this is how you're responding to it. So the universe here with this Nine of Wands energy, you see the figure is very upright, it's very alert, it's looking out, it's looking for an opportunity, or it's looking for a moment where it needs to respond. Now the Two of Wands feels a little bit more casual. Like it's still future focused. It's looking into the future, but it's kind of leaning forward. Can you see that? She's like at this kind of angle instead of up like this. So she's wanting to take action. She's wanting to look into the future, but the universe is saying, no, hold your position, allow whatever it is to come to you, and really consider what's out there in front of you instead of, kind of leaning and trying to get into it right away. It's like this Two of Wands is very impatient, whereas this Nine of Wands is a bit more patient, is just waiting. There's a bit more tenacity and more strength of character going on here that's being asked, but the response is not quite in alignment with what's being asked. So the other thing that I think is interesting is that he is sitting on top of this beast or top of this animal. I've never been able to figure out what kind of creature it's supposed to be. It's kind of like half lion, half ram or something. I don't know. Anyway, he's sitting on top of this creature, which is clearly his battle animal. And she's sitting next to the lion. She's sitting on top of him. Yeah, it's kind of unclear. She's kind of sitting on top of him, but she's also kind of sitting on a rock. But this beast here is under the command of the person, whereas the lion is next to the other person. So I feel like this is the opportunity. The animal is represented by the, am I saying this right? The animal represents the opportunity. This one is saying, I've got the opportunity and all the ability like contained, and I've got it in control. This one's like, it's next to me, but I'm not really harnessing it yet. I'm not harnessing the full power yet. Man, this is really abstract. So let's keep going. We've got the Six of Cups. We've got the King of Swords pondering the Six of Cups. And on the other side, look at this, another lion. But she's holding the lion's mouth in her hands. So, oh, okay, I see what's going on. So we're going a little bit back to the past to go to the future. I didn't like these two cards together. They don't feel good to me. And I'll explain why. The Six of Cups is that childhood innocence, going back with a nostalgic kind of eye to when things were simpler. She's having a little tea party in the woods with her fairies and her stuffed animals. So it's very much that childhood kind of energy. And then on the other side, we've got this King of Swords who couldn't be any more cold. The Six of Cups wants warmth and it wants security and safety. But that this King of Swords is very cutting, very blunt, minces no words. And so this is talking about situations in the upbringing where there wasn't maybe enough nurturing going on, where the father or the authority figure, the one with the more masculine paternal kind of energy, was very cutting and very unavailable. And it's led to this, it's like a misunderstanding of how to use true strength. So because this was the example, something that was very blunt and steely and very strong, but it didn't really go with the softness and the warmth and the tenderness of what was being asked. This energy doesn't know how to process this one. And I do feel this is the past. It may be in your present right now, because we do tend to attract situations from our past to help us resolve it. So, but saying that, I hope that this is coming through clearly enough, that this softer childlike energy, the inner child, if you will, or just the child energy, wanted gentleness, and it wanted tenderness, and it wanted warmth and understanding. But this King of Swords figure doesn't understand how to do that. It's just not what it understands. And it thinks that truth is speaking things very bluntly and kind of cutting through, whereas an emotional kind of vulnerable soul is not going to respond well to that. That's not going to be a good delivery of truth here. So that's where we have this kind of inappropriateness of energy. And I'm not saying that you're doing something inappropriate, but it's not the appropriate use. The universe is wanting you to be like strong and aligned in your purpose and ready to go, but you're kind of a little bit leaning off. Instead of being upright, it's this way. It's wanting to kind of grab or reach into the future a little too much, or it's just not aligned. So then we come to the Strength card, which is, sorry, I don't want to drop the child on the floor, which is really the higher octave or the higher vibration of the theme of these two cards. It's the Strength card. So a lion is much more powerful than a woman, although she's quite tall. It's a bigger animal. It's a very powerful beast, yet she's able to tame it through gentleness. So this is trusting that the gentleness and the quiet, softer, tender, vulnerable approach actually yields more strength than the brute force of that beast, kind of like that. So that's this. So this figure is kind of leaning forward here because it's not quite trusting that the beast is going to support it, or the beast is going to help it along, Whereas this one is total command of the beast, just like her. These ones have their lions, or whatever these animals are. They've got their lions under control. They have that animal force, that raw elemental energy from the universe. They've got it under control, but they're doing it through being aligned with it, and through gentleness, and through vulnerability, and through it's almost, it's not what you would expect. This King of Swords thinks he has to look so hard and act so strong to make a point, whereas she is so much more powerful than him, just because she's learned how to harness this raw energy and to harness that lower energy that we all have, that beast kind of energy. She's learned how to hold it. I'm getting ready to do a Disney concert, so of course I'm thinking Beauty and the Beast, but it's that idea where through being gentle, through being honest, through being herself, she was very strong in herself. She tames a beast, right? And then, quote, allows his true self to come out at the end. Although I have to say, I always preferred him as a beast rather than the prince. I didn't like when he turned into the prince. I thought he looked weird. Anyway, so I hope this gives you some things to think about with the appropriate use of strength and with energy. This has to do with words as well. You don't have to force your words through or force your words at someone. It's that gentle, vulnerable approach is much more effective, especially when working with someone who's very reactive. Animals are reactive. They just are, right? They're instinctual. They don't think about what's going on around them. They just react. So when you're dealing with someone who's in that kind of frame of mind, it's very important to remember to be very gentle and to be very vulnerable with them, actually. When you show that vulnerability, then they kind of calm down. It's a little bit reverse. You would think they'd pounce on it, but it's actually the other way around. But, again, that vulnerability was not safe to express as a child in that state. It wasn't safe to do that, so that's why right now it's a little bit difficult. This is not an overnight kind of process. This is definitely work in progress kind of thing. And trusting your own vulnerability is something that takes a lot of dedication and practice. But these are the these are the directions that are available and open to you. And if you are receiving this message, it does mean that you're ready to start working on it. So I'd love to hear how you're getting on with it. Always reach out in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you are interested in a one-on-one reading, I do offer them over Zoom. And you can find out more at trueguidancetarot.com or email me below. I am considering offering some relationship readings for the holidays on kind of like how to be my best self around people that drive me crazy. I'm being kind of flippant, but to give you a deeper understanding of those kinds of relationships. If that's interesting, also let me know through the email or comments or whatever. I'm still kind of in the planning stage with that. So I look forward to seeing you next week, and have a good one.